Hi, I'm Oliver Stone, and I'm a director, a writer, and sometimes producer. So I've been here before a few years ago, and the they're really trying to change things. There's a new landscape. There's a whole generation of younger people. They say 70% are under 30. So and the Prince is changing a lot. I've seen changes already, and there's obviously a very traditional conservative religious element here, a bit like Iran. there, and i- i- the modern elements are fighting this. It's how do you what do you turn this country into? And it's interesting to see this. But I came for that reason, and I came to see the mix, the blend of Asian, African films. There's so many from so many different countries, from Kazakhstan to all the African countries, including places we don't normally see, like Angola, Libya, and there's the European, the Mediterranean sector. So it's a real cross current of current thought, and you see similarities at the same time you see differences. I mean, you realize there's a Sunni and a Shia element to Islam, and it's reflected here, as well as people from Georgia. Islamics from Georgia are here, so it's a way of thinking. But it's interesting to see how they all mix. I've always been an international type person. My mother was French. I'm half French, and I've always had a penchant to what I call stay civilized, which is to be in touch with the world. And unfortunately, my country, where I grew up, America, is in many ways deprived of that. We don't get out. We don't know the thinking of other people. We tend to assume that they have to follow our way of thinking. That's not the case, but it tends to be that way. And many problems result, politics and so forth. I would say it's good to get out of your own country and get into other countries and try to understand how they think and so forth, and not be judgmental. You don't want to be the typical ugly tourist that shows up and says, "Oh, I don't like the food, I don't like the traffic, I don't like this, I don't like that," which you can get with jet lag, by the way. So, you try to stay loose, and obviously, the more you intermingle with the people, the local people, the better off you're going to be. We have an advantage by having the film introduction, but because that is a universal language, and there's a chance here to see so much and talk to the filmmakers. Also, I forgot to mention that I'm presenting my own documentary that I just completed, Nuclear, which is the story of nuclear energy in our present landscape of climate change. We need more and more nuclear energy, and the film makes a statement in that regard very scientifically. And I think it's important to share that with the people here in this country. A lot of the films that I'm seeing are, I would say, of the first stage of cinema kind of thing, where after World War II, for example, the European industry came back with very Italians, especially with neo-realist films. It was, I'd say, the English and the French too. So it was we saw a world that had come back from deprivation and war. And I think here in these countries, we've seen a lot of poverty, and the people who don't have a chance. Uh, Sad stories, people of migration, stories of not enough money, of being screwed by your boss, being screwed by the police, being screwed by anybody with a higher position. Uh, there's many of these films, but each one is done in a different way because the society is different. But there's a general plea for humanity to survive, to keep its dignity. I haven't seen the usual. Not I hate to say usual because I like movies, but they're very well made spy thrillers. But you don't see that in this group. It's not less emphasis on action as it is on truth, and that's very much the first stage of cinema. In our country, we've moved way beyond that into this ultra slick, sophisticated way of thinking, where we're dealing with all kinds of digital, non some of it fascinating, some of it's just boring, but it's great to come back to the roots here. I've been in repressive societies, many of them over the course of my life. I don't feel that here. There's no sense of a religious police. I think more so in other countries. So and I don't feel fear among the people. I don't. If anything, shyness, we were told, is people not, they don't understand what a festival is. So they don't understand that they can go and buy tickets and actually go to a posh place because it's posh, this place. I mean, the theaters are beautiful and they don't feel like that's not normal. Maybe I'll just stay at home and watch my TV, and that's the problem because films will be replaced by TV unless we get people to go to movies and understand what they're about. And I think the quality is here. They make them, and they're dying to make them. And I think I don't know. These movie theaters here are really so luxurious that it wouldn't be very hard. I mean, compared to some of the theaters we had when we were kids, pretty nice here. If I make one more feature or two more features, I'd be very pleased. But there are some other subject matter I want to deal with in my lifetime.